it's Erin and Simon from Assets and Arbitrage, and we are coming to you today from sunny Metapec. Now there is a cloud cover, so y'all will see the light shift. Just ignore it. I want to see in the comments. We know the lights messed up for this show. We already know.
Yeah.
But we wanted to sit outside and enjoy ourselves as we shot the show today. We got our little tequilas. We're not going to mention the brand, but we're having a good day today.
Yeah, we taking the family on vacation for a week. It's not really a real vacation. We still work. She works. I work every day. The kids still going to do school, but we just like to go out and visit different places. So, yeah, we're coming from Metapec, Mexico. It's a really nice city. Very nice people. It's a small city, but it has the first world things
amenities that we need.
So, yeah, we'll be here all week filming. So, you know, just bear with us.
Yeah, the light's going to be messed up this week,
us
okay?
A little bit. Bear with us a little bit.
We know. All right, babe.
Oh, okay. So today we're going to go over some things we had talked about last show about pocket watching, and that'll come back up. Be sure of that.
Trigger warning.
What we want to talk about today is we talk about actionable steps. We never want to tell people to do something without actionable steps. Mm-hmm. So the other day I was going through my books and I was looking through I was looking for a book. And I came across the book and I said, hey, we need to talk about this. So this is a book that most of you people probably have heard of and many of you may have even read. Mm-hmm. And it's called The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. Mm-hmm. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go over some of the laws, not all 48, but some of them that are applicable to building wealth, mm-hmm. how you can get consistency in your building of wealth. So we're going to go over that today. We're not going to try to keep you too long, just a few of them. So we'll start with. So which law should we start with here?
But in addition to being consistent, the laws are really to help you be strategic, mm-hmm. right? It's to help you kind of have conscious, actionable steps. You are conscientious about the actionable steps you're taking. You're not just stumbling onto luck, which is what. It's weird, but a lot of people kind of do it, right? Yeah. So I just kind of stumbled
into it.
This helps you to be a lot more conscientious, like a chess game, right? You're very conscientious on the moves you're making.
We always talk about chess. You got to be strategic. Mm-hmm. 6, 7, 8 moves ahead.
Out. Yep. And some of these laws are great for that now. Some of the laws talk about crushing your enemy. We're not into the enemy crushing. We're into the community building. Yeah, so we will leave those on the buffet line.
Yeah, we'll leave those out.
And we're going to take the ones that we can utilize out.
All right, so we're going to start with law number 3. Mm-hmm. So law number 3 is called conceal your intentions. So what that is about, and that's an important law, especially in the Bitcoin and crypto community, yes. Because when you get on to Bitcoin, you want to tell everybody what you're doing. You want to tell everybody about anybody you can talk to about it. But it becomes redundant. And actually, if you're going to be building something, sometimes you have to be quiet about it. Yeah, you have to be quiet about, how would you say, quiet money, as we say?
Quiet money.
Yeah.
Quiet money moves mountains, right? One of the main things about concealing your intentions is, in the era that we live in, this isn't just about Bitcoin. In the era that we live in, everybody posts every random thought that comes to their minds on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat. You got, people are on dating sites, just all of the things that they're thinking and they're doing. And it's a very attention-seeking generation.
And I just want to slide in here real quick so we can go to law 4. These two work hand in hand. Conceal your intentions is law 3. Law 4, always say less than necessary. So go ahead. She's saying people say too much, but go ahead. That way we got those 2 laws out the way.
So when you are moving, you want to move quietly. I know we get excited. We want to share with everybody what we're doing. But the best way to be strategic about that is to do what you're going to do, see the success, and then say something. Yeah. In the meantime, during the research process, when you're learning, when you are fooling around with it, playing with algorithms and stuff like that, you should really keep that baby covered, right? I always tell hubby, I said, when people are making moves, they should treat it like a child. That child is covered in your womb. No one can see that child. I know we have ultrasounds and sonograms and all of these different waves that can kind of make an image of the baby. You never really see the baby. Right. Those 3D sonograms are creepy as hell. So You want to treat it like the gestational period. Any period of conception that gestates and turns into, I'm going to say life,
there you
should
go.
be covered until that delivery takes place. Okay, you want to do the same thing with your wealth. I know, like he said, in the Bitcoin community, we get enthusiastic. People are showing their dashboards with all their money on it. And I also realize that, and I'm going to say, you're going to be mad, the MLMers, right, when they're trying to suck you into buying and trading Bitcoin, when they're trying to suck you into buying and trading Bitcoin or whatever the $697 a month platform is, they show you their dashboard to say, hey, I'm making this amount of money, you can too. So it's a real slick kind of, I'm going to show you my bank account to show you how much paper I'm getting, so that you would get enticed and you would be like, yeah, I paid a $965 a month to get back $200 plan. Without having to do any work. You can make this money in your sleep. All of these different things are ways to just suck you in. And if you're being sucked in, you're a mark. And they're looking at you as a sucker. So keep that in mind, right? When you're making moves, be quiet about it. I've noticed a lot too. My husband likes to call them Johnny come latelys, that you will learn something today and then want to teach it this afternoon. Right? You want to get to the point where you've at least developed at least the minimum of mastery before you start teaching. Okay? There's a lot of regurgitation in this community. We sit back, we watch, we listen, and you can tell those who really know their stuff versus those who are regurgitating points, don't have very important fundamentals, like not knowing the difference between fiat and money, currency and money, not understanding how currency is created. All of these little fundamentals, you can tell. The more people talk, the more they tell on themselves, the more they tell the truth. So when you're making your moves, you do want to say less. You do want to hold certain things back. And this isn't so that you can be better than other people. This is so that you can gain mastery first. You put your oxygen mask on first, and then you can help those coming behind you. And sometimes that can take years before you can get out there and be an influence, before you can get out there and do something.
Yeah, we as it said, typically 10,000 hours for mastery. So,
right, you want to put that work in, and before you say something. Two, another reason why he's okay. Another reason why we talk about concealing your intentions and saying less is because the people that you want to share your ideas with, you're excited about this, those are the people that will actually, in the West Indies we say bad mind, but they will actually put their negative energy on it. Right? And what that does is, if you had just the least amount of fear, uncertainty, and doubt within you about taking this next step, now that fear, uncertainty, and doubt begins to grow, because this one's, oh, that's stupid. You're not going to make anyone. Silver ain't worth nothing. It ain't worth nothing. Right? Because they think you're talking about sterling silver. They don't even know the difference between fine silver and jewelry. Okay? So this is what we're saying. A lot of times we share knowledge with people who lack that knowledge. And it doesn't make sense. We do it because we want the support of our loved ones, but you want to be more strategic and say less to them too. Now, spouses, I'm going to be on y'all asses. Y'all got to stay on code.
This goes back to a couple shows ago, but when we talk, there's going to be some underlying themes that will keep reoccurring. So we don't want you to think it's being redundant, but these are kind of like core themes that go with building wealth. So we'll always bring them back up. We'll tie them back into our conversations.
This is your vault. This is my vault. This is my bank vault, right? This is what is it called? The securities, when you have the little security drawer at the bank.
Okay.
Right? That's my little safety. Everything goes, my safe deposit box. This is my safe deposit box. When I have an idea, when I'm thinking about something, good idea, bad idea, or indifferent, it goes into this vault. I don't share with anyone else, because I already know he's going to look at it from an objective point of view and say, yes, Aaron, we are going to go headstrong into this, or I wouldn't, not right now, or we need to look further into it, or he's not going to off the bat be like, that's stupid, or that's not going to be worth anything, or that's not worth our time. Okay? Especially if it's something I sat and thought about. So spouses, you want to create a environment
Mm-hmm.
where that confidence goes to one person.
Yep.
That way you don't have to post it on Facebook, right? I don't know what it is, and I'm an old soul, right? Yes, I'm 40. I'm a very old soul. I have no idea what it is about asking random ass strangers on the internet for advice.
Yeah.
Why people do that, I do not know. I know it has something to do with the attention seeking. I don't have the bandwidth to look into the pathology of it, but we have to come away from doing that when we're doing big things.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
When we're making big moves, when we're being strategic. Don't talk to random strangers about important life decisions. I kind of get why people do it, but I really don't.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to create an environment. You want to cultivate a relationship with someone. It doesn't have to be your husband or your wife. Maybe it's your sister. Maybe it's your brother. Maybe you have a favorite cousin. But it needs to be somebody who knows something.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And not because it's that relationship. That's another thing that we notice a lot of people do. Well, we've been friends since kindergarten. You haven't realized that you've outgrown her a long time ago. You haven't realized that you've outgrown him decades ago.
Right.
So we also have to be strategic and look into that relationship before we start revealing our visions that we have for ourselves, our plans, the things we're doing, divulging money issues, divulging assets, wealth. So say less, conceal your intentions, get a vault, put it in a vault, find a vault, cultivate. You have to cultivate these relationships in order to have the vault. Right? So this is over 20 years in, been with him since I was a teenager. You have to cultivate that relationship first. That way you can, and then you need to be able to discern the difference in, have I outgrown you?
Mm-hmm.
Are we growing together?
Right.
So those are some of the laws you just want to kind of have in mind as you're making these moves.
Okay, we're going to go to the next law. Okay, we're going to go to law number 5, which I think is an important law. So law number 5 states, so much depends on your reputation. Guard it with your life. So in this community, as we're moving around in crypto and stuff like that, you have to guard your reputation. I mean, people are building platforms, they're building businesses and things like that. So your reputation means everything. You want to do stuff on the up and up. For example, when the Bitcoin crash, we went to 20,000. I'm telling everybody on the way up, like, Bitcoin. And when it crashed, all of a sudden, everybody like, hey, what's up with that Bitcoin? So I'm like, but I had to stand, as they say, 10 toes down on my Bitcoin and say, well, it was a pullback and we'll be okay. I had to guard that. I couldn't just disappear with all the people I had been telling about Bitcoin and talking to. I couldn't just disappear like, oh, shit, it dropped, so I don't want to say nothing to nobody. I had to stand with it. I had to eat that. I had to take that L, hold that L, as they say. But guard your reputation in this business as you're moving around a community of cryptocurrency and building assets and wealth, and what would you like to add on to that?
So when you're growing your reputation, especially content creators, we got this great channel that the Gentlemen of Crypto put together. Shout out to the Gentlemen of Crypto.
Shout out to those brothers.
Shout out to Ruel Black, your show, Jump Out Girls. Y'all are doing great. We got
Shout
Crypto in the Caribbean. We got Reggie Middleton, right?
Yeah.
So we have a lot of great content creators. And one of the things I want to say is, for the content creators, but everybody we're talking to, as you begin to build your brand, whatever it may be, you have to walk in integrity. You make a mistake, be an open book about it, right? Take responsibility, take accountability, but you don't want to involve yourself in situations where if you start to blow up, if you start to get to certain places, people can come in and just be like, oh, she does this, she does that, she does the third. He don't pay bills. He don't pay his employees. He don't pay his contractors. He's not good with money.
He don't pay
He's
child
a
support.
shyster. He don't pay child support.
My bad.
You don't want people to come in and basically assassinate your character in truth. Right?
Yeah,
it's one
true.
thing if it is true, but you don't want them to be able to do it in truth. Right? Ladies. Right? I don't know. And I'm not talking to anybody specifically, but I know, again, we talk about Facebook, Instagram, all of the Tumblr, whatever it is, all of these different OnlyFans, right? If you decide that you want to do something different, do you have to pay somebody to scrub your Instagram? Y'all know what I'm asking y'all, right? Do you have to pay somebody to scrub your Facebook? Do you have to get videos off of the internet because now you're trying to do legit business? Right? Especially women, because we have a harder time building brands, building businesses. Especially, all you need is for a sponsor to go and check your Instagram page.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you ask first, sponsor's going to kind of shy away from it unless that is part of their brand. So we really want to get our reputations in order. Men, you don't want to be in picture holding guns and doing this and doing that and the third. And I know that's more of a young people thing, but we want to be mindful about the moves that we make.
Yes.
Right? So we are very specific about Simon Family Investment Ventures. Our brand is our family.
Mm-hmm.
If you checked our YouTube, if you checked even Instagram, and I'm not really active on Instagram, Facebook, however you're looking for us, you are typically going to see a family. I don't even have selfies, I don't think, on my page, which is weird for a woman my age in this day and time. But we have to be very cognizant about building brand, building reputation. You have to be honest about who you are, and that's the easiest way to walk. Are we trillionaires? No. Are we billionaires? People will tell you absolutely not. But we live the life that we talk about. These are things that we have cognizant on our brains. These are moves that we make. There is a lot of sacrifice involved. Okay, you're not going to catch us at the Hollywood Bowl. Nope.
What's the Hollywood?
Hollywood Bowl. That's where Dave Chappelle got attacked.
Oh, okay.
But like those tickets are like $500, $600, $700.
Oh, okay. I'm not up on that.
I love Beyonce. Not going to catch me at a Beyonce concert. I absolutely adore her, but I'm going to sing the track the way she sang it originally. I don't have to go to the concert because we have something else that we're trying to do. Now, other people with other brands, I can't remember his name, but he took a picture of a receipt. He spent $19,000 at a restaurant in Miami. What was it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I can't remember his name.
That's his brand. His brand is he's flossing. He's out here doing his thing. He spends money. He spent $460-something on a 6-pack of water in Miami. I get it. That's his brand. He is who he says he is. And that's ultimately what we want to be. We want to guard our reputation. We want to build a brand, to me, as authentically as possible. I know that there is an air of fake it till you make it. We're a family. We don't want to teach our sons that. So we don't like the fake it till you make it. If it works for you, great. But just know that in this era where people can actually look into you and talk to people about you and the internet detectives get involved, they can assassinate your character. They can destroy your brand.
Okay.
And we had that major influence pass away. His funeral is actually this afternoon. They did everything they could to assassinate his brand, but he pretty much was who he said he was.
Yeah, shout out to that good brother, man.
So when you're building your brand, be authentic, guard your reputation with your life. That is your money maker, and that's what people are going to resonate with.
Okay, now we're gonna go like these laws kind of tie in together, so you might hear the same talking points, but we're tying them all together, and we're gonna make one big point at the end.
All mindset.
So law number 10, right? Infection. Avoid the unhappy and the unlucky.
Oh my God, yeah.
Now, in your wealth building process, you got to stay away from them people at all costs. The people who are unhappy, especially unhappy, unlucky, what we like to call. If you guys are familiar with C. Freeman L., he calls it calamity.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so you want to stay away from those people who have calamity, who are unlucky and unhappy, because it's a drain on you. And she'll tell you about the energy drain. Because that's
so misery loves company. Okay? Miserable people seldom keep to themselves. They like to reach out to people who are happy, who are resonating in joy, who are resonating in peace and tranquility, and disturbing the hell out of it. Okay? They are energy vampires.
Yes.
They are sucking the life that you are enjoying for themselves, and it's going into what I like to call a void. So another reason why you want to avoid them is because energetically, it is harder to throttle someone up than it is for them to throttle you down, right? Just like it's easier to roll a marble stone down a hill, right? Easy to do because the momentum and it just goes by itself. That is the person throttling you down. That is the person sucking the life out of you. That is the person draining you. That is the person whose depression can become infectious. It's harder to push that marble stone up that hill. Right? That's throttling someone up. That's taking that person who is in their misery and you're trying to throttle that energy upwards. It is difficult to do.
Yeah.
It is draining and it's often unnecessary. Right? Especially if you're not a professional. Professionals know how to deal with them. They know how to protect themselves, protect their energy in order to deal with people like that. If you don't have that type of professional wisdom, try to steer clear of them.
Yes.
Right?
And you know what's interesting is when she's talking about professionals like clinical psychologists who see people will often have their own psychologists that they have to go see because they're dealing with so much stuff, right? So it's like, yeah, you have to guard your energy. She's right. They call them energy vampires. It can a lot of times be family and friends, and we're not banging on family and friends, but a lot of times the people closest to you have the access to you, so that's where the problem lies.
And it becomes unguarded.
Yes, it's an unguarded relationship, right? So, yes, you got to really guard your energy. And, you know, it's just in your wealth building process. And these are little things that if you don't know about them, you may not pick up on it and you don't see what's happening initially. But we're just trying to give you little things that just look around for like, oh, okay, this is an energy vampire. This is somebody, you know, when they call me on the phone, it's always bad news. It's never, hey, how you doing? What you got going on? How's kids? How's the family? It's, let me tell you what happened to me. Energy vampire right there. Taking you right down off the rip. And it may be close family and friends and, you know, you got to listen to them. You got to, but just, you want to
set boundaries.
You want to set boundaries, but you want to actually know who they are so you can see when they're coming.
You can identify them. And then you can set up a plan, right? So maybe I don't talk to you every day. Maybe I talk to you a couple times a week because I do care about you. I do love you. But I know what you're doing. You may or may not be doing it intentionally, but it will begin to affect what I'm trying to manifest and what I'm trying to create, what I'm trying to build and what I'm trying to protect, right? Because you have to remember, this wealth thing that we discuss is a multifaceted process.
Yes.
You have to generate the wealth. You have to have a plan for it. You have to be able to protect it. You have to maintain it. It's got to be generational. It's all of these different things that are happening simultaneously. But you can't focus on that when somebody's telling you, my dog died, my cat got worms, my sister owes me money, I'm about to get kicked out of my house. And just understand, too, that when we talk about outgrowing people have to go through their own lessons. Yes. We do like to try to save people. We have that weird salvation kind of, I call it like salvation theory, where everybody wants to be everybody's savior if they can be. Everybody wants to be the superhero. This is the age of Marvel and DC. So we do have those heroes imprint on our personal character development. It's very important to be able to discern when you should actually intervene and be a hero and when you have to take a step back and say, this is a journey. You have to take your journey. Yeah. It's not getting better because you haven't taken your journey yet.
And when she's talking about, we like to study psychology. We study Carl Jung, and what he would call it is the hero archetype.
Yep.
So that's an archetype that you know, people can look up and study. But if you have that hero archetype, it becomes incumbent on you to try to save people and all that stuff. But you have to go through that journey to just realize you can't save everybody. So, you know, and I'm sure most people understand that because, you know, we all live life and we probably all been through these situations at least once. But
and if you notice, all of these laws we're talking about, it's talking about your energy. It's talking about what you're putting your energy on, what you're putting your focus on, what you're putting your mind on. Because whatever you're focusing on, that's what's going to grow. Right. If you're focused on family drama and let's be honest, family drama and she did this and he did that and that's what's going to grow. It's going to grow. It's going to be chaotic. It's going to be plentiful and abundant. If you're focused on change, if you're focused on development, if you're focused on wealth building, that is what's going to grow. It's whichever lion you're going to feed. And then if you're feeding one lion, that means the other one's starving.
Yes.
So you have to have the discernment on which lion's going to get fed. Is it my line of abundance, my line of character development, my line of growth? And then I'm going to have to starve a little bit the line that attracts, as he said, calamity. We'll go into that another day. It's just people who, every time you talk to them, something crazy is happening. And it just doesn't seem normal to you. We have a lot of that in our community. But yes, you want to focus your energetic abilities like a laser. You don't want it to be a diluted, dim light. You want it to be focused like a laser. I could cut through steel with my focus and what I'm focused on.
And just so we can touch on it, what is the Bitcoin community?
Laser eyes, because they're focused. They're
focused. So, okay, we're going to go into the next one. All right, I like this one. It kind of ties into the next one. This is Law 16. It has a lot to do with Bitcoin. It says, use absence to increase strength and honor. So basically what they're saying is scarcity. Everybody can't have access to you, right? At some point, everybody can't just call you on the phone. Everybody can't just reach out to you, have access to your energy, what you're doing. You have to have a level of scarcity to yourself as a person, right? That's what makes Bitcoin so important. Scarcity. So as a person, as a brand, if you're building a business, even just trying to up level and build your wealth, you have to have a level of scarcity where everybody can't just access you at any time. And, I think that's very important. I'm not saying cutting people off and, dismissing them and stuff like that, but you have to have how like when they start leveling up, all of a sudden they got an assistant and you got to call this person and that person just to get in touch with you so that you can call them back. Right? And that's a level of scarcity. Anybody can't call you, can't reach out to you, can't touch you. And so that is very important because it is one of the properties of Bitcoin, right?
Yes, yep. The scarcity, ultimate scarcity. And you have to mimic, because it's energy, right? Bitcoin is energy. For those of you who follow Mass Kaiser and Stacy, and Robert Breedlove, they have this fantastic philosophy about the energetic property of Bitcoin. And we'll get into it because we got to get into the metaphysics at some point.
We're going to get into it. We're going to hit it.
But we're going to baby step y'all, right?
We're going to hit it. We're going to get to it.
But when we talk about creating scarcity, it also runs back to the point of saying less and concealing your intentions, right? You're working. You got stuff to do. You really don't have time to take on some of the headaches that normal people take on. You're not normal, right? And I say you're not normal because you're saying, I'm building something very important and I don't have time for this. Your time is your most precious economic commodity. It is your most precious energetic commodity. And who are you writing that check to? Right? You're just going to be writing checks all over town. I mean, you get a check and you get a check and she gets a check. Everybody gets a check. Nope. You have to use your time like money. Time is money. Who is getting these checks? Who are you writing these checks to? And also, once you get that, you'll also enjoy what we like to call tranquility. Here in Mexico, we look at each other and we say tranquilo. That's what we are. Tranquilo, right? There's a peace. We're not saying that we don't get stressed. We're saying that we don't get anxious. And there's a difference. We don't suffer from anxiety anymore. We did. Well, I did. He got a poker face, so he'll never admit if he was anxious or not, right?
I got ice water in my veins.
He'll never tell me. But Lord have mercy, if I ever saw him getting anxious, I'm going to have a panic attack. But here in Mexico, things can get stressful, but it's like a controlled stress. Some of it is a little bit, I kind of do well under pressure, so it works. I don't have crippling anxiety attacks, panic attacks. So when we talk about that tranquilo, we are talking about protecting your energetic wealth, which is your energy, your time, what you're focused on, what you're dealing with, right? I would rather you be a little bit stressed on how you're building your business than super stressed about what your cousins, sisters, baby daddy's uncle, god sister's daughter got going on. So that's where we're trying to go with these laws. And like we said, these are typically the relationships that you're unguarded, that emotion just sucks you right in.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't want to be a mark, right? You got to be able to say, this is the 4th time this month that this has happened. And I'm going to I'm going to gracefully bow out of this situation.
You guys ever heard the old saying, if you're sitting at a poker table and you don't know who the mark is, then it's you.
It's you.
Who's the mark? It's me. So.
And they do that because, again, the undisciplined mind, whether it's conscious or subconscious, they know the disciplined mind to try to tap into, right? It's something very metaphysical about that. It's a parasite. Parasite will always be able to identify and locate a host. Mm-hmm. The host isn't always able to locate and identify the parasite.
Yes, this is very true.
So we have to take these strategic moves so that that undisciplined mind isn't tapping in to your disciplined mind and siphoning off. I'm using the word siphoning, precision of language, right, with accuracy. They're siphoning off either your energetic energy or your finances, right? It can begin to affect your relationship. Which also has an energy resonance. Yes. And you want to be able, just like you would protect your wealth as you're building it, you got to protect your relationship as you're building it, right? You got to protect your energy as you're developing your mind, as you're disciplining your mind. You have to protect that. So that's why I said these are multifaceted, multi-dynamic processes that you kind of have to survey. That's not the word, precision of language. But you want to kind of be able to identify it.
Identify and keep an eye on them.
Like an inventory.
Yes, indeed.
All right.
So next law we're going to do is a quicker one, but we got to get into it. It is law number 23. Concentrate your forces.
Oh, yeah.
So what does that mean? I mean, it kind of explains itself, right? You want to take all the energy, the forces, your resources, and concentrate them into one place, right? And we're not giving investment advice. Nobody's saying take all your resources and put them in one place. But concentrate your energy, right? Just like she said earlier, we talked about earlier, the laser eyes. Focus. Concentrate your forces. We concentrate all our energy on our family. That's concentrated our forces on our family, right? And so that is something that has given us great return on investment, not financially, but just to see the growth of our family.
Because that's our wealth.
Yeah, the understanding they have, understanding even for me as a husband and a father, that I've concentrated my forces on my sons, so I know that when I'm not here anymore, they got it from here. I don't have to be worried. I say, okay, I taught y'all what you need to know. I teach you the same things, and you guys have got it. I've concentrated my forces. Oh, go ahead.
And peace to the gods, but on a 5% level, on a metaphysical level, he has also implanted that into their collective consciousness. Our grandchildren are going to be born with a significant amount of this wisdom and knowledge because we're constantly discussing it, talking about it. They have it in their bones. You ever hear somebody say, I know it in my bones, I know it in my soul. It is now being deposited into the collective consciousness of our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren, our great-great-grandchildren. And we're trying to drive that into perpetuity. So as you're doing that, I just want to say, he lives forever. Get the message? Right. And that's what you kind of want to cultivate. We want to cultivate a community where we live forever.
Yeah.
And that's what the ancestors is all about.
Yeah. So that was a quick one we want to get. So this is another law I think is important.
Oh, I want to address one more thing.
Oh, okay.
Right? Okay. With that, when we talk about, what was it? What was the law?
Concentrate your forces.
Concentrate your forces. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who have spouses, concentrate your forces. Right? Right brain, left brain. The right chamber of the heart, left chamber of the heart. Be one. Be synergetic with each other. Be on code. Stay on code. Walk together. Walk as one. Be of one mind. I can keep going and going and going and going. You have to concentrate your forces. 2 brains are better than 1. A family is a community. Let there be multiple families so the community can be strong and concentrated.
Oh, yeah.
And that is what we're driving towards when we say concentrate your forces.
Yeah, and on Wednesday, we're going to go in big on community. So we got a whole big show about that on Wednesday. So
because that's really what's going to drive the wealth. Black wealth is going to be zero by 2030. 2050, I'm sorry.
2052 or something like that. Yeah.
2050, right? Black wealth is going to be zero, and we don't need the government's help. You don't need welfare and all of that stuff. If every family was able to be the kings of their own dominion, right, individually, then collectively, you know how strong we would be? You wouldn't need, what is the word I'm looking for? Salvation. But you wouldn't need somebody to come in and say,
you wouldn't need an outside party to help you. You could be sovereign.
Because when that outside party comes in to help you, they get a say.
Yeah, because that's what we're talking about, freedom and sovereignty. And, like I said, we're going to have a big show about that on Wednesday. It's going to be a great one.
But I just wanted to add that to concentrate your forces. Work together. Work together.
So this is another one. It's kind of off topic, but it has something to do with this crypto community and this law number 25, which is recreate yourself. Learn how to recreate yourself. And people say, well, what does that mean? Well, you have to learn how to, at some point, if you identified as something and you see a new opportunity, you got to be comfortable recreating yourself and saying, okay, this is what I'm doing now. Right? How many people in the crypto community did something else as a former,
hedge fund manager?
Yeah, there was this.
I was all in the gold, and I can't do Bitcoin now because I only do gold. We do silver and Bitcoin. You can do both.
But you got to be able to recreate yourself.
Yeah.
You have to be able to recreate yourself. We don't have to belabor the point on that. You understand as things change, you might have to turn from this thing to that thing to the other thing. But be comfortable doing it. It's okay to recreate yourself. Be comfortable in doing it. What would you say?
I would say something that's going to shoot you into your next point, which is my husband has a saying in our house, you have to be fluid.
Well, we're going to get into that.
We'll get into that. But that's what recreating yourself. Shout out to Ed O.G. That's my song.
Ed O.G. Shout out
and
to
I'm Hove.
And the Bulldogs.
Right? Hove. To allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Hove.
Another one we want to get into. Quick one. Law number 28. Interaction with boldness.
Oh, wow.
Like, go in. Like, don't be a fence rider,
not a fence rider.
But that's what people do. And, tippy-toeing the line. Like, interaction with boldness. If you're going to do something, do it. Don't be like, well, let me just see. No, interaction with boldness. You have to interaction with boldness. You can't just like, well, I'm going to just do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, because you're not going to get the results. You're not going to get the results that you want. You're not going to get the outcomes you want. You have to be bold in your actions that you're entering. Right?
Now, I'm going to say that our risk tolerance is a bit higher than our counterparts.
Well, yeah, you have to.
So, I want to get a little bit, I'm going to pull back just a little bit, right? And I'm going to say we do, right? We got we're Aries rising, even though we're Aquarians. So, we tend to do the bull in the China shop thing sometimes. But I would implore you to at least take an actionable step.
Yes.
Right? If you don't know how to write the article, start with the first sentence. If you don't know what this is about, start with the first page. Reading the book. Just little steps. Enter into a little step boldly. Right? Because we can understand the fear, uncertainty, and doubt that people feel. Mm-hmm. And they're in an airspace where they're watching television, they're listening to the radio, they're listening to music, the propaganda they're not isolated and alienated like we are, where we can kind of be a lot more bold because we're not bombarded with the fear mongering that the U.S. is bombarded with.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, indeed.
So take an actionable step boldly. One step. Just take one step on this 1,000-mile journey. Boldly. Like, you know what? Damn it, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this for me. Right? Or maybe you're like, I want to do this for you. It just depends on what type of relationship you're in. I'm going to do this for us as a family. But take that actionable step, even if it means even if it petrifies you.
Yeah, it will.
Right?
It
People
will.
are scared of uncertainty, but I think their uncertainty is some type of failure that they don't know or understand or can identify. Failure, if you guys change how you saw failure, we don't see failure like other people see failure. We see failure as a lesson. Like, okay, let's look at this. You know, we attempted this thing and it kind of fell apart. Let's look and see if we can trace back where it fell apart.
Well, we come at it like scientists, right?
Yeah.
If you were doing an experiment and something didn't work, if the experiment, quote unquote, failed, as a scientist, you would just reconfigure and like, okay, how can we change it? Yeah. And let's do the experiment again with some different parameters.
Yeah, let's change some variables. Yeah. Let's change the control.
And so that's what we do. We see failure. You know, sometimes, you know, it doesn't work out and you're like, all right, well, let's try it again. Let's try something again. Let's move something around and see if this works better. Let's try this. Let's try that. Failure is a great teacher. So don't be scared of failure. It's a great teacher. It's going to happen. You can't really get past it. You can't get past failure. You must fail in order to succeed, as they say. So we just take failure as an opportunity to learn and get better.
And sometimes failure isn't failure. Failure is the baby just hasn't been born yet. He's still cooking in the oven. So we're looking at Bitcoin, and I know Bitcoin hasn't performed the way, remember, we're supposed to be 220 by December and all of this other stuff, right? It's a low time preference. It hasn't failed. Everybody's panicking, and Michael Saylor said, I'm not selling my Bitcoin. I'm not selling it, right? So we're saying Bitcoin hasn't failed. The baby is still gestating, right? You have to have that low time preference. You have to have that patience. Wealth building does not happen in a day. It is not winning the lotto. That's not what this is. Okay, and even the lotto, it takes weeks and weeks and weeks for that money to build up before somebody hits the jackpot. So just understand, this isn't easy money, easy come, easy go. This is character development. This is a journey. This is the ability to leave a legacy in your name, right? For people who look like you, for people who come from you. So I would definitely say that, which would lead into the next one, because you definitely need this in order to get that.
That's the last one we're going to do. We're going to do law number 48. Assume formlessness, right? So there's always a classic quote. You can see it on YouTube by Bruce Lee that says, be like water. Right? Be like water, formlessness. Water is formless. And so that's what they're trying to tell you. Don't get too stuck in one rigid way, right? Look how fast the world has changed. 20 years ago. So let's talk about it. Everything that we use today didn't exist 20 years ago.
15 years ago.
Right. So,
some of it.
You know, Google, Facebook, you know, all these platforms, cryptocurrency. It didn't exist in 2000. In year 2000, none of the stuff that we use on a daily basis existed. So you have to be formless. You got to be able to go with the flow. You can't get too rigid and be one way. You have to assume formlessness, because what worked yesterday might not work tomorrow. And you got to be okay with that. You got to be able to flip and say, okay, I had a certain way I was doing things, but this didn't work. And so I'm going to try something else. Like I said, before we really got into cryptocurrency, we were really big investors in precious metals, silver and gold, right? And as you started to see how Bitcoin, Ethereum, and some of these other cryptocurrencies were taken away from the market cap,
you get involved, you get exposed.
Yeah, you got to get involved. You can't be like, oh, well, no, I'm gonna dig my heels in the ground and I'm gonna still be in gold. No, you got to be formless. You got to be able to move. You got to be fluid. I always tell her, you got to be fluid. You got to be fluid. Say, okay, I don't really understand this, but I see what the market's doing and I'm following the money. So I got to be fluid. I got to be able to move this way and just see what happens. And like I said, if it's a mistake, we learn from our mistakes. It was a lesson, but it hasn't been a mistake. It's actually been very, very good to us.
Right.
So, but yeah, be fluid. Don't get too rigid. Don't get too stuck in your ways, especially in this world now, the way that everything changes all the time. You got to be fluid and be able to move around. You got to be, ready.
Yeah, being
ready
fluid
for whatever
requires you to have a very open mind. It requires you to listen, right? I'm noticing more and more that one of the main failures in situations, relationships, all of these different nuances is the inability to listen. Right? Not hear what you thought you heard, but to listen. And the ability to listen, to actively listen, requires you to have the ability to learn something new, to develop a new neural pathway. That requires time and effort. Okay? Right? So you have to be open-minded in the fact that you can accept new ideas, that you can accept new things, that you're willing to learn something new, but you also have to be willing to do something new. Right? Change is very scary to a lot of people, and we take for granted some of this, right? We're not insensitive to it. We take for granted a lot of these things because we have a partner to work with in order to push through some of that fear. In order to push through some of that risk tolerance. Right? We're not saying that we're not scared of anything at all. We do have each other. It helps a lot. But we just want you to keep these things in mind, that these are the things that are going to get you in places you've never been before. You have to do something you've never done to get somewhere you've never been, to have something that you've never had.
There you go.
So that requires courageousness in the fact that, like I said, you can accept something new. You're willing to listen. You're willing to take it in. Even if you can't take it right now, just say, let me marinate on this. Let me let this cook a little bit. And then I'm going to look at it again with maybe new eyes, with a new lens, with a new heart, with a new mind. And I noticed that a lot of people reject new information right off the bat. They just close off and reject it.
And like, we cultivated our children because they're young and they're into this. And they give us new information. They give me new information.
Every day.
They help me out because I can't keep up with all this stuff. So they come to me like, hey, Dad, you heard about this, that, and the third. I'm like, oh, okay, let me look into that. They keep me up. They keep me on my toes so I can learn new information. And but we have cultivated them to look for new information and bring it to us, and then we can do some different things with it.
But let's be honest, we also parent in a very new way. Our parents didn't parent the way we parent.
No.
We parent conscientiously. We are willing to listen to our children. I grew up in a place where they used to say children must be seen and not heard. That don't fly in this house. Nah. My children need to be seen as well as heard.
Yeah.
Right? I need to listen to what they have to say. We need to be able to see if there are signs of things we need to get involved in, if it's like, oh, okay, that is something new.
Because it's interesting, because when they come to me, I actually want to hear what they got to say. I don't want to be like the person like, nah, I know what I'm talking about. I don't want to hear what you got to say. I said, no, tell me more. Tell me more. Oh, that's interesting. Let me look into that. Let me think about that. And that's part of like the community that we're going to talk about on Wednesday. On Wednesday, we're going to really get into community. But that's part of the community that you build where, I don't have to feel like just because my son is 14 years old and he's bringing something to me, I'm like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you're just a kid.
You're just a kid. I got this. I say, no, tell me more. You on the cutting edge. Tell me something. Because you probably got something that I missed or I'm not looking into or I'm not privy to because I'm not in that genre. So, I always listen to him. But we built a community that way so that it helps everyone. Yeah. It helps everyone.
And you build a community. Everyone's listened to. Everyone's heard. Take what works for you. If something doesn't work, don't force it. Just take from the buffet table. This is going to benefit me and mine. We're going to take this. We're going to leave that. And with that, we're going to leave you guys today.
We kept you a little long again. We're going to get it shorter, though. But
we're going to try to get a little bit shorter. But we love y'all. We appreciate y'all for joining, watching, sharing our content. We love the comments, the emails, all of the engagement that you guys have been giving us. We appreciate you guys so much. And we look forward to seeing you on Community Day, Wednesday.
Yeah, we got a special show coming up on Wednesday. So I think you guys will like that one.
Bye, y'all. Right. We love y'all.
Salute.